Hey everybody, it's Susan with Susan Monroe Art, and today I'm going to show you how to do a beautiful loose painting of marigolds in a pot. I did it in my backyard. Here's the finished painting that I show in the video, and just had such a lovely time doing it. It was sunny, the birds were singing, it was relaxing, so I just want y'all to be able to experience that as well. No stress painting, just enjoying doing it. And one of the things I'm most excited to share with you on this video is a technique to draw things from life where you're sighting them with a pencil. And I just want to show you really quickly what I'm talking about, because in the video, I'm filming, I'm not getting up there and posing to show you. This will make sense when you see the video, but I take my pencil, I'll tell you to extend your arm full length and then sight along your arm by shutting one eye, and you'll look like this when I shut, okay, when you're doing it correctly. So I just wanted to show you that position. This will all make sense. It will all come together when you see the video, but you'll use your pencil to help you sight your object, measure it, and then get a nice, fairly accurate drawing to work from. And I just think that gives you a lot more confidence in your watercolors. And if you're interested in learning a little more about drawing, I have 2 other drawing videos up where I teach my husband how to draw. And he's not an artist, but it was fun and people have found them useful. So I'll link to those in the description box down below. I just want to thank all of you for watching this video. I appreciate every single one of you, especially those who have subscribed to my channel. And I want to ask you, if you like this video, to please click the thumbs up button underneath the video, or you can even subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button underneath there, and it has a little bell icon, and if you click that, you'll be notified whenever I put out a new video. And I also love for people to leave comments. If you have a question, if you have a suggestion, if you have an idea for another video, please put it in the comment section below. I always answer all of my comments. And this helps me because when people respond to my video in any way, it helps YouTube to pick them up on the algorithm, and then my videos get shown to more people and I get to share my love of watercolor with more people. So that would be great if you can help me out by doing that. And one other thing, I guess I just wasn't thinking when I filmed this, and I filmed the video in portrait mode, sort of vertically rather than horizontally like I always do. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. So the framing of it looks just a little different, but the information's all good. I think the video is good. So I just want to let you know that before you watch it. So thanks again for watching. I hope you have fun with this painting, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how it turns out. And let's get busy drawing and painting. Here's a photo of the pot of marigolds that I painted, and I'm going to show you this photo throughout the painting process so you can see my drawing and my painting, and you can see the subject I'm working from at the same time. And I've also started a Pinterest page where I'm going to post my reference photos, so if you'd like to use them for your own paintings, they'll be available to you, and this photo will be on there. And I'll put a link to that page in the description section under the video. So the first thing I want to show you is that sighting technique, the drawing technique that I mentioned in the intro, that's going to help you get a good proportional drawing to give you more confidence in your painting. So you're seeing this technique from my point of view. This is what you'll be seeing if you do it yourself. And I've also had to slow down the video just to fit in everything I want to say here. So just so you know, I don't move this slowly in real life. It's just for the video so I can fit everything in. Here I'm taking my pencil, and with my arm completely extended, I'm holding the pencil up to measure the widest part of the pot, using the left end of the pencil as my starting point and the right side of my pencil, right edge, where my index finger is, as the ending point. Then I move my pencil down and position it on the page where I want the top of my pot to be, and I put a dot where the end of my pencil is, the left end. And as I said, that's going to be the starting point of my measurement. I made this dot a little higher on the page than I wanted, so I ended up dropping it down a few inches. Then I use my pencil to measure the top of the pot again the exact same way, and I drop the pencil back down to my paper. And I'll put the left end of my pencil on the first dot I made, and now I'm going to make the right hand dot, the dot where my index finger is, to show exactly where the edge of the pot should end. So now my 2 dots show the proper width of the pot. And once I get that line measured, I'm going to go ahead and draw an ellipse to show the curve of the top edge of the pot. Now I'm going to go back and measure the height of the pot. I put the end of the pencil at the lowest point of the curve of the top of the pot, and my index finger marks the bottom of the pot. Then I transfer the pencil to my paper and make a dot where the bottom should be. Then I'm going to go back and use the exact same technique to measure the width of the bottom of the pot and make the appropriate marks on my paper. Now I've noticed that my line showing the bottom of the pot isn't centered, so I'm drawing a line to show the center of my drawing vertically, so I'll be sure to draw the pot symmetrically. This is a great tip to help you draw anything that needs to be symmetrical so you can easily compare the two sides of the object and make sure they match. So I'm measuring and scooting my line over so it's in the right place and drawing those sloping sides of the pot. And I can see that my drawing doesn't have quite the right dimensions. The length of my drawing is too long, so the pot looks too skinny. So if you're using this technique, that's really easy to fix. I just go back and measure again, and now I can make my correction. I think I just misjudged where my index finger was, and I drew it too far down. And then I can draw the ellipse for the bottom of the pot, and now the pot looks good. And then I'm going to do the same thing to measure the width of the flowers and just generally sketch in their shape. And I'm just eyeballing the location of each flower by looking at them in relation to each other. I generally notice, this one is higher than that one. These 3 are in this position together, but you don't have to stress over this too much. Flowers are very forgiving to paint. And finally, it's time to begin the painting. I'm not going to add any music to this video because I thought the sound of the birds in the background is so pretty. And you'll hear some traffic too, but it's not too bad most of the time. I'm using a color called Indian Yellow to mark the location of each flower, and I'm going to try to vary the strength of the paint to try and show a little shadow on each one. Indian yellow is this beautiful, bright, warm yellow. I love using it. It's similar to New Gamboge, if you're familiar with that color. It's a little expensive, but to me it's worth getting because it's just really special to use. Now I'm beginning the shadows, and the color I'm using for that is a mixture of turquoise, Davies gray, and ultramarine blue. And I'll list all these colors in the description underneath the video. It's a new combination of colors I've started playing around with for shadows, and I really like it. Now I'm painting what I think is the most important shadow in the painting, and that's the shadows cast by the plant across the front of the pot, because I think they really help give the painting some dimension. And now I'm going into the shadow side of the pot with the same colors. I'm putting it in and trying to work around the raised leaf decoration that's on the pot. And then I'm going to use just a little clear water to soften this edge of the shadow and bring it down in between those leaves that are the decoration on the pot. Now each of those raised decoration of leaves also is casting a little shadow because the sun is so low in the sky. It's early morning. So I'm going to go in and add those shadows that are under each little bit of decoration, and it makes a really nice pattern across the pot. If you look at the photo of the marigolds in the bottom left of the screen, you'll see that sort of raised decoration I'm talking about. And I wanted to put in the darkest dark of that shadow. Then I noticed the face of each leaf has a mid-tone. In between each leaf is a mid-tone, and then the top of each leaf is where the sun is shining. It's a highlight. So I'm going to try and work all that in here. Of course, if you're just painting this yourself at home and working from that photo, you could make the face of the pot perfectly smooth and just work on the, the shadow side and the sun side without adding all this additional decoration. It'd be no problem. And here I'm coming in and doing the shadow cast by the pot and the plants. And I want to make sure I get this at the correct angle. If the shadow's not at the right angle, sometimes it can make your drawing look a little funny for your painting. I work on it here, but I'm going to come back and fix a little more later. Now I'm adding a mid-tone color to each of the leaves, so it's lighter than that dark shadow color, but not totally white because I'm saving that white for the highlights. I know that this pot is technically white, and to me it's always so interesting. You have to decide what colors you're going to use to paint white, but it's because that white object is casting shadows, and the colors of the shadows depend on where the sun is and how you're looking at it. So I decided to use a light gray blue for the mid-tone shadows on this part of the pot. So this pot has so many cool colors in it, the cool blues, the grays. I decided I wanted to warm it up and put a little bit of yellow on the sunlit side. Don't be afraid to try something different like that. I don't actually see yellow on that side of the pot, but I thought it made the drawing look better. And if you see something, you think of something that you think is going to make your drawing or painting better, go for it. Give it a try. And now it's on to the greenery. I'm starting with my lightest greens, just painting the little buds underneath each of the flowers. It's a combination of sap green and Indian yellow. So just a reminder, when you're painting in watercolors, it's important to remember that you paint from light to dark. Unlike oils or acrylics where you put in the darks and then you can paint the lights on top of them with white paint, there's no white paint in watercolor. So I always go in with my lightest colors first, and I make sure I reserve the white of the paper anywhere where there's a white highlight, and then I darken and darken and add my darkest shadows last. And that's what I'm going to be doing here as I do this greenery. I'm switching to a darker green on the shadow side of the marigold. All I did was add a little ultramarine blue in with the green just to cool it down and make it darker. I'm using that same cool green to add a shadow to each bud and stem that's holding a marigold. And then I'm going to use that green and just dapple in some shadows among the leaves, trying not to get too specific and not worry too much about where they are. I'm just looking at my reference photo and following the general pattern of darks and lights that I see there. You don't want to forget to add the dirt that you can see between the leaves and the pots. And I'm using some ultramarine blue and sepia to make this color, and just popping it in wherever I see an opening in the leaves, and trying to make sure I follow what would be that elliptical shape on the back edge of the pot as well. I'm drawing that back edge of the pot and putting a little more edge on the front so I'll have a highlight on the top of that. I'm going to go in here and reinforce the darks on the shadow side, because really in the picture they're a good bit darker, and also try and show some of that reflected light that's on there. And I use a little bit of clear water just to help blend everything in. I'm big into blending with clear water. And also I noticed that the ellipse shape on the bottom of my pot was just not quite deep enough. So I went in with some clear water and moistened that watercolor that was down at the bottom and used a paper towel to lift it off. I've redrawn that ellipse and made it a little deeper, and once it's dry I can just go back in and repaint it. It's an easy way to fix things with watercolor. And here I'm adding a little mix of sepia and Indian yellow to show some of the shadows that are on the blossoms. Now, to make the flowers really pop, I'm using a little Windsor blue in the background to add like a sky color back there. And since yellow and blue, well, they're not really opposites. I guess it's purple and yellow are opposites, but I think blue, on the color wheel I'm talking about, but I think blue really makes yellow look good. So I wanted to add that. And then I'll add a little green for the tablecloth underneath. Now we're getting to the end. I'm finishing up with that green, and voila! A nice painting of marigolds in a pot on a sunny morning. I want to say thank you for watching my video. Thank you for supporting me. Again, please hit the thumbs up and like this video, and think about subscribing if you'd like to see more. Again, thank you for watching, and happy painting.